Alright, hello everybody. So we've had a request to do a video showing how to automate a process that creates files like as shown. These were for cheerleaders and football, but basically bringing in an image, doing the overlays, creating that all as output files, and then being able to go to print pretty quick and easy. So I'm just going to walk through an example of the process. So again, in Photoshop here, we've done this in Flexi. You can do it in Illustrator. There's different tools. I'm kind of walking through the Photoshop method. I already have a really simple template that I put together, but you know, you get the general idea. This is actually done for like a car show type environment, where we'll take pictures and do an overlay and then output all of them and then print them all out at a later time. But similar process. So basically I've just created a new Photoshop document. We've got two logos, two pieces of art basically up in place. Again, these are just examples. And then all I'm going to do is create in this particular case, we're going to do person's name. And I'm going to do it right there. I'll make sure that we're in left justified mode, so when this gets updated it doesn't move around. I'm going to go ahead and do a style. We'll do an outline, outer glow. Just keep it with the default settings, no problem. And then we're going to create a layer, and we're going to call this layer the picture layer. And then I'm going to be sure down here and drag it down to the back layer, or put it in the back. And then this is just as simple as I'm going to make this particular one. So what we want to do is we're going to take source pictures, and we're going to lay them onto this picture layer, and then we're going to change this person's name to the person's name that represents that particular vehicle in this example. So what we're going to do is we're going to create what we call a CSV file, or basically just a text file, if you will. So I'm just using Notepad in this case. You can do this in Excel, you can do this in OpenOffice, Calc, and then just output it as a CSV. In my case, I'm just doing it in the output CSV, which is here in Notepad. We want these to be tab delimited, not comma delimited. So we're basically just have a tab between the columns, and that's what denotes the different fields. And we're going to put person's name as the first column, and then picture as the second column. And then we're going to just have the person's name, and then a tab, and then a link to the picture that represents that particular person. And we'll do that for each of the entries. So in the case of like the cheerleaders, if you had a cheer number or a football player's number, and then you also had his name, and then you also had whether he was a senior or a junior, you could just have this in multiple columns in your CSV. So you'd have name, number, class, etc. You just have them as different columns, and this process would apply. In this particular example, again, I'm just kind of keeping it simple. We've just got two columns, so we've got that saved as a CSV file. And again, in Excel, you can put this data in Excel. If you've got a ton of a ton of information, it's probably easier. And then you can export from Excel to a CSV. And just do it as a tab delimited file, and you'll get a file that looks like this here in Notepad. Now, once we've got that done and we've got our file or our template created, image, pull down, variables, define, and then you're going to have the availability of variables for every layer in your document. So in my case, we're going to go to person's name, we're going to go to text replacement, and we're going to call it, if you'll notice in our CSV, we called it person name. So we're going to call the variable replacement person name, and then we're going to go scroll to the next one until we get to the picture. And then if you look at what we named it in here, we named it just the column picture. So we're going to go to pixel replacement, name, picture. We're going to go to fit as is, alignment in the center. That's fine. We're going to say next. Now we're going to go to import. We're going to select the file. We're going to go find the CSV. We're going to select it. We're going to do use first name column for dataset names and replace existing datasets. I'm going to say OK. And you're going to see that it automatically brought in the document. And you can see we can scroll through and we can watch it change as we're going through the datasets. Now, all right, so to output that now, we're going to go to, as PSD files for you, we're going to go to File, we're going to go to Export, we're going to go to Datasets as Files, we're going to select the output file. In this case, I'm just going to the same area that the pictures were in, which I believe is my downloads pics. Yep. And I'm just going to use the document name with an underscore and the data set name. And it's going to save these as PSDs. You say OK. And it created them all, so we can come back over here. You can go to downloads, back to that directory, and now we've got all our PSDs, which is our outputs. And I can bring one up just so you can see it. There you go. So now you can basically go right from the PSDs either to JPEGs or a PDF or whatever you want to do. If you want to do something like that within Photoshop here, you can just go to File, Automate. You can go to PDF Presentation. You can select the files that you want to put in there. So let's just go ahead and select those PSDs. You can make it a multi-page document. On this include, you want to make sure and turn all this stuff off. And then you can just say save. And I'm going to give it a file name. So let me just put it in that same directory. We'll just call it untitled. That's fine. And we're going to go and just say save. And it's going to process all those images. And if we come back to our file, now we've got an output for the PDF file. Let me bring this, let me bring that window size down so it can fit on my screen. And there we go. We've got our PDF of all the images ready to go to print. So anyhow, so hopefully that all made sense and that is helpful for you guys. Give me a thumbs up and please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any comments or questions, I would appreciate it. Have a great one, guys. Take care.